Epic music brings back the Wellbeing Podcast. I am your host, Scott Frost, along with my co-host, Sumer Basine.
Yes, sir. What's up? What's up, Wellbeing Nation?
We are back in the action. Sumer and I often have these kind of crazy catch-up conversations, so I decided to, they kind of spiral into these different topics, so called him up and said, let's just meet up and let's just let it go, because we have a lot to catch up with all of you, but also not just life-wise, but rants that I have and other things that have happened.
So wait, what happened on the way here? On your drive, you said you had the most weird experience on the way here.
Okay, so I'm driving over to TLF and to Train Life Fit, where Sumer is, and I decide to take the highway instead of the back road, which is more of a direct route, because I'm like, all right, it's the middle of the day. It's 11:30 here for all of you who are listening via radio, and in Austin. And so I take 35, and I'm trying to get off at the exit, but there's a kind of like one of those transportation, public trucks, road trucks.
Yeah.
But they're kind of off on the side of the road, maybe 100 yards in front of 51st Street exit.
Yeah.
But the guy is crawling on the ground, like along the sidewalk, like it looks like if you were going to be burning ants with a magnifying glass. He's like on the side of the road, and he's like crawling around, and I'm like, what is going on? So I actually can't get over because everybody's swerving out of the way. And so I have to go extra exits down, and I end up coming off Airport Boulevard. And of course, the one time the train comes all day long, I'm sitting by the train.
So was it like an inquisitive crawl, like he was crawling to find and discover something on the ground, or was he crawling because he was hurt? He was trying to explore ants on the ground?
That's what I couldn't tell. I was like, oh my God, is this guy okay? Like, he's crawling outside. Like, is he having a heart attack? Like, this is not cool. And then I sort of is he looking for a contact? But
be feasible.
Feasible? Like, that's not going to be found. So
but on the highway?
I know. So it was wild. And then I got stopped by the train, and then I finally turn around and I'm coming back, and there's another guy who's along the edge of the property, right before you turn off the Home Depot to come back here to Mueller, and he's taking a shovel, like an old school wooden handle shovel, and he's shoveling his grass off of his property into the road.
Wow.
And this is like the weirdest trip ever. It took me 20 minutes to do a 10-minute drive. So that was my weird travel story.
Yeah, in Austin, we don't give a shit. We just I actually saw this random guy walking across the stoplight, and it was green, and he started mouthing off, "I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit." And he was walking across the stoplight, and I was like, "Wow, this is Austin." And now the more I hear, Scott telling his stories, it's like, "Yep, that's Austin. That's Austin for you." In a nutshell.
So that was my experience getting here, but.
So what's going on with you, man? I haven't seen you in forever. I had my grand opening party, and I was upset. I was very saddened that Scott Frost was not there. But I guess, I sent a Facebook invite. Not everyone can keep in touch with Facebook. So maybe I should have called, and that was also on me. But I was very saddened not to have him there. But it was a great turnout. It was amazing, like I said last time. Anyway, I just wanted to express that on air.
That's understandable. I actually didn't get a notification, and I was sad when I heard it on air. So I would like to publicly to the nation apologize that I was not there, and your sadness is
it's okay. I'm getting over it.
Is understandable, and I'm glad at least you brought it up. So I feel like we should address the good, the bad, and the ugly of what happens in life. And I guess I'll start out with I'll bounce around. So with some of the things I kind of want to rant on right off the bat is, do you feel like like I'm trying to find this balance now that I'm having some issues that have kind of cascaded from my dance career, and I'm dealing with some of these physical problems, about how much you can really be open as a coach and as a trainer in the struggles that you're having, because it's like this I don't know if it's an internal battle or if it's a credibility battle, but like we're coaching people through how to become either, their personal wellness, right? Because what's well for one person is not what's well for another person. And I think that as you're doing that, you become so self-conscious that, like, are they going to understand what I'm working on for my wellness is maybe not what I'm trying to coach them through, but also it's really all those experiences that have led me here. Like all the injuries I took early on because I didn't have me, right? Like I didn't have what I am now available to me then in a coach to guide me past away from a lot of the mistakes. And those mistakes have made me a really good coach. But I've kind of struggled with this about like how open I can be and transparent I can be, even though I want to be, and just and allow people to maybe to be empathetic with them, but not not undermine myself as like, no, I still know what I'm talking about, even though I have some damage I'm dealing with.
Well, I mean, like, to what degree are you talking about in terms of what you share? I mean, is it to the degree of, I mean, because with some clients, I can even tell them, hey, I'm dealing with a lot of people coming in. I don't get enough time to put into myself, things like that. But I'm wondering, to what degree are you wanting to delve or go into rather with a client?
Well, I guess it's more the obvious stuff. So, in all transparency, when I was a ballet dancer for 5 years professionally, and I started kind of late in the ballet world. So I started around 2021 while I was still in college, and I was at an Ivy League school, and I was at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, and I was pre-med, and I was training down in Center City with a ballet company down there, really getting my training started. And so I was really pushing positions with the turnout and the external rotation that were really aggressive for an already developed body. So I was just using a lot of effort, a lot of tension, and also, I mean, it's not like, I mean, had I started early, I also would have been dealing with these things, but they would have been more gradual over time, right? And so in the process of doing this from 21 to about 28, 29, I think 28, over 7 years of intensive training, 6 hours a day, you adapt to these positions, but in a lot of ways, because I started late, I was doing it with very compensated ways. So, in that external rotation, what started to happen was my kneecaps, my patellas, actually shifted laterally to the side of my knees. So, yeah, but it wasn't really apparent, right? Because you're spending so much of your time turned out that it just appears it's a part of your turnout. Well, it didn't really flush itself out until I retired, and really over the past couple of years, I've had knee problems that I really didn't understand because I had centered myself. I walk straight, I sprint, I lift with great mechanics. I have hamstring strength. I have everything that I could check off the list. And in the past year, I've had this kind of horrible knee problems, and it wasn't until recently that I was seeing some of my friends, actually CP, who I did a podcast with, and Sam, who's over at Champions Performance, and we kind of determined from the way my pain was happening, it wasn't meniscus, it wasn't. I only went to them because if I couldn't solve it with tissue work, I couldn't solve it with various modalities or strength or alignment, and I had covered all those bases. like something else was deeper wrong, and I was having this horrible pain inside the knee, like deep underneath the patella, and I knew it was cartilage. I knew I had this. I mean, I understand pain and I also understand symptoms, and I just had this feeling like I was literally just eroding my articular cartilage. And sure enough, we kind of ran some checks on it. I came up negative on meniscus and ACL and like everything else, right? And it really was a cartilage issue, and that's bad news because all the years of grinding wore my cartilage out.
Yeah.
But so I started doing like cartilage conditioning, which is kind of like lightly pumping the knees, kind of like at a total gym, like an incline leg press.
Yeah.
So not with the pad, not with your body reclined back, like lifting the weight, but actually your body reclined, inclined up. So you're just unloading.
Blood and unloading. Okay.
Right. It's blood and unloading. And
okay.
It's perhaps, I don't know, 30% of my body weight, right?
Okay.
And just kind of doing quarter squats and trying to do that. And while I was doing that, Sam kind of checked in on me, and we noticed, hey, your patella is not on your knee. And what it looked like was the reason. So why did this go so long without getting seen? Like, why didn't I catch it? Because the inside border, the medial superior, all that means is the inside border of the patella, the top piece, that edge, that corner, was actually in the center of where the center of my kneecap should be.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Sumer's looking at his knee and so actually this border here, and so I'm showing in mine, this border here, instead of being, see, I drew a mark actually in the center of my patella.
I see it.
So this was here.
Oh, shit.
Wow. And so I thought it was like I just had a bony kneecap, and I was like, oh, I have a bony protrusion in the center of my knee.
Wow.
It turned out it wasn't a bony protrusion. It was actually the entire kneecap rotated. And when we saw this, she had me squat, which had been painful now for a while, and I could, full mobility, because mobility is not my issue. I, went ass to grass, and Sam looked at me from behind, and she said, this is disgusting. Like, I can actually see from behind you your kneecap on the side of your knee. From behind, not even on front.
Ooh.
Yeah, ooh.
So it was that prominent. It was sticking out that much.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was so prominent that it could be seen to that side, and it was kind of like, oh, well, that's the obvious cause. If my kneecap's on the side, no wonder I've worn out my cartilage inside. No wonder I'm grinding it out, and no wonder I'm having pain, because the edge of the tibia and probably the femur are actually scraping the underside of my patella, my kneecap. And that's a massive problem. And so what we started doing was she pulled out actually KT tape, like kinesio tape. Yeah. And so this will lead to another discussion of what I think about kinesio tape. She used it instead of its intended purpose, which we'll talk about whether that's actually there's truth to that or not, but kind of repurposed it as a tool to set the alignment, the tracking of my patella.
Yeah.
So we were using it to actually push my patella. She pushed my patella into place, like actually rotated it over. Mm-hmm. And then we taped it in place with this stretchy tape instead of an athletic tape, which is kind of like a cast, right? So when you tape an ankle, when you tape something like that, you're creating a temporary cast that immobilizes a joint. Mm. Well, a knee you can't really immobilize because it's going to bend, and you don't want to. Yeah. You want some flexion in the knee, so it's a stretchier tape.